Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another race of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione Season 4, organized by Formula Racing League and sponsored by SimGrid Racing. I am Alex and I will be your commentator for today. And before we jump out onto the racetrack with the qualifying of the amateur driver, let's take a little look at the temperatures today. It looks like 17 degrees of outside temperature or ambient temperature and 22 degrees of track temperature. Though in loading the server it kind of looked like it might be raining today. At least the game showed me a very gray sky. I haven't taken a look at the race weather simulation that was linked in the Discord of FRL. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, for now let's just hop over to the standing for a little bit. For anyone that is in chat, always let me know if you can hear me and if the car sound is loud enough for you or too quiet, or if there's anything you want to say, let me know. So, taking a look at the standing, unchanged, Ivanov in P1, Veltman in P2. Then we have a little bit of a change. Paul Whitburn gained a few positions, even though I'm just seeing that there's a bit of a different... okay, there I see what the problem is, because they have the same points. Paul Whitburn and Andrea Panoscia have the same points, even though Panoscia gained 4 positions with the result of the last race, because he was in P3, as you can see, in the last race, so that gained him a lot of positions in the overall standing. Patrick Bisters in P5 also gained a position. Yes, exactly. And then there is Ljubomoy Biswas, who lost a position. If I see it, yeah, he lost a position. Amika Zetarash also lost 4 positions. He was, obviously 4 positions ahead, but did not start in the last race, and that cost him some points. Cappy made unchanged in P8. Eric Griffith is also gained 3 positions into P9. P10, Pierre Meyer. P11, Davy Hill. And then we have Stu Rogers. No, we don't have him anymore. He withdrew from the race. Then we have Matt Whitburn, who I think crashed quite early in the last race, and that's why he didn't finish the last one, and also he lost a lot of points due to a change of car. So he's now driving the Porsche. And before, I'm not sure, I believe it was the Ford, but I can be mistaken. Stuart Pryor is the last one in P14 with 39 points. Also hasn't taken part in the last race, and also hasn't withdrawn from the race yet, so I would be surprised to see him here today. Let's take a look over to the... There we are, to the AM drivers. Pacini is disqualified or withdrew from the race as well. But currently standing in P1 is Muggia, unchanged. Vincento Conti in P3. Then we have Simon Bragg in P4, Camillo Scavarieri in P5, and I think the first changes happened here. Alfonso Migliore is also withdrawn from the race. I need to make some annotations on my spreadsheet here. Dario Brames gained a lot of positions in the last race. He gained 2 positions. Rayman, currently running in P8, lost a position from last week's race. Peter Davidson in P9 gained 3 positions after the result of the last race. That was P2, yeah. Then Castelli is also not racing anymore. Jake Deschamps in P11. And then there were not so many changes anymore. Yeah, Van Kauvenberg in P13 also lost a position compared to last week. this year. I know that's Covenberg. He lost 2 positions, and Derek Cole gained 1 position comparing to last week race. Then Cimini in P13, Giuseppe Messina in P15, and then Naden in P16, Van de Kamp in P16, and then we have Kuipers in P19, and I think that's it so far for the drivers that are here in the standing. And we have supporters for Raymond again in the chat, which is always fun to see for me. And let's head over to the qualifying session. There we are. Or again. So the first result that we have, let me give you the broadcast view here. Are we all set up? You have sound of the cars. You can hear me. Wonderful. Let's go to the TV camera though, to see the cars whiz by. So the first valid lap is from Smuja with a 2 minutes 17.697. I assume there will still be some improvement and some changes. Dario Brems in P2. Raymond for now qualified in P3. Pavlovic in P4 with the golden McLaren here. Covenberg is also coming in with 1 second of improvement compared to the last lap, but he still has half a lap to go, so let me find a driver that is closer to actually setting a lap. Sound is good, thank you very much for that information. Yeah, Spa probably one of the most exciting tracks here. 7 kilometers long, and the first race happened in 1925, which is quite a historic. I always say historic length. Kind of like exactly 100 years ago. And it was changed to the current form in 1979. Before it was 14 kilometers long and actually encompassed the two countries, the 2 villages of Malmedy and Stavelo. Hi, Alan. So we are with Covenberg for the end of this lap. Almost gained a second compared to the last lap. So Covenberg now jumps into P6. Let me see. Actually, Raymond is doing fairly well as well. 9/10 on the clock at the moment. That will put him into P2, I think. Oh, it's just P4 for Raymond. That looked a little bit more in the software here. Conti now took P4, the provisional P4. Yeah, Spa, one of the most driven tracks. Generally, I think. So I assume that even the AM drivers will set one of their best lap times compared to the other lap times in the season. That might lead to some more. Might lead to a bit of an interesting race, because the AM drivers and the pro drivers are might be mixed up in the starting grid. So for viewers that might be joining us for the first time, the AM drivers and the pro drivers, they are racing on the same track, but they are in different scoring systems. So only their respective positions towards the other drivers of their class count. We have 30 cars on grid today. and 15 minutes of qualifying left in total. 3 more for the M drivers. Dario Brems has quite a close gap to P1 Muja with like only 1300 of a second. Sorry, 1800. So I think he will be fighting hard for this qualifying time, but the last lap that he had was invalid. Cimini is coming in, almost coming in with 8/10. That would definitely put him into P1. Oh, Alan, then I wish you a healthy recovery and hope to see you in the rig soon. Cimini with 1 second. That will definitely be P1 for him. Ah no, he invalidated the lap. Oh, just in the chicane. Now we almost got. There's just Van de Kamp and Kuipers and Janes that haven't set a lap yet. Sorry. Yeah, Conti definitely the strongest also now with the Sector 2 times. With the Sector 2 time. First we're gonna stay with the Dario Brems here. Because that is 4/10, 3/10 that he lost now in that. Yeah, this lap time will still be enough for how it looks at the moment. Put him into P1. Now roughly 2/10. Now with 2/10 he will take P1. So that's the purple lap for Brems for now. I still see that there's room for improvement here with a lot of drivers. Oh, there's Cavalieri coming in. That would put him 3/10 at the moment, half a second. That would almost be P1 for Cavalieri. No. That looked very good for a second, but this will not even be an improvement of the time. Smuja is now back in the pits, so maybe he gave up on the qualifying. No, actually the session is already over. He gave up. So yeah, Brems is still on track, but there's Deschamps, one of the last drivers on track, and already the pro drivers are heading out for the qualifying. Also on the right side of your screen you can see the little track map there, just in case you're losing orientation a little bit because the cameras are not in the best positions. So the best lap time of the AM drivers is at 2 minutes 17, and now Deschamps is coming in. Deschamps is almost, well, he will take P2 like this. No, P3. P3 for Deschamps in the last qualifying second for him. Well, let's see, there's the 56 car that is on track still. Okay, that's Brems. and he finds another 10th. No, not even half a 10th. Yeah, but now let's take a look at the AMs, the pro drivers, sorry. First one there, 620. That is Whitburn. Matt Whitburn, who I've seen driving fairly quick already. It's a pity both of the Whitburns are struggling with the liveries, because from the looks that I had on the liveries, I don't know if that's actually English. I liked the liveries when I saw it. Now you can just see a black car. From the looks that I had on the liveries. Wow. So yeah, just in case there will be some confusion later, we have Matt Whitburn that is driving the Porsche, and we have Paul Whitburn that is driving the McLaren. So, and they are related, so it's not just a coincidence that their family name is the same. It's actually a family name. Oh wow, this stream is really starting out to be very good. Oh yeah, Whitburn just invalidated the lap there, or at least this is what the ACC is telling me. So now at any time we should have some valid laps coming in. So Davy Hill, Assetto Corsa with a valid lap as well. Assetto Corsa now provisional P1, 2 minutes 16.7. Davy Hill 2 minutes 17.2. Spectate here, so on the left side of your screen you can also see the standings a bit better. Hi Amar, I don't know what's your driver name and what will reduce your grid rating. Just for a little lap time comparison, the top 8 car average on Spa from the absolute alien drivers is 2 minutes 15.23, and the 101% time of that is 2 minutes 16.58. So Assetto Corsa with a 2 minutes 16.7 is in a very competitive time frame there. Maybe take a look at the lap time that Panosha is going to set. Panosha currently P3 in the overall standings. So Matt Whitburn jumped into P1 for a second. Ivanov took his position immediately with a 2 minutes 15.7. And now there's Panosha coming in with 2 minutes 17.1. So we have 2 drivers below the 15 seconds, below the 16 seconds mark, and we have Casetaras with 2 minutes 16. So Ivanov here in the Lukoil Racing Esports livery. Was just trying to read the Cyrillic letters on the side there, but I realized it just also says Lukoil. I was like, oh wow, well, it's written on the front, so I can read that. Yeah, Ivanov currently also standing undisputed P1 with a gap of already 23 points in the overall standing. A copy mate currently coming into turn 13 and 15 into Campus and now into Stavelot. Well, that was not a successful corner there. Let me see. Yeah, Davy Hill also on the way to bring in quite a good lap time. Currently 8/10 of negative delta. And is still finding some time in the chicane. 1 second now. Yeah, that is P3 for Davy Hill. 3 more minutes of qualifying left. Paul Whitburn now also coming in, almost half a second on the clock. That is P5 for Paul Whitburn. Panosha just started a lap. I'm still looking for a bit of a better lap time there by Panosha. You know, I'm having even me as a commentator, I'm having expectations. Come on, you can do better. Also Veltman in P8, I don't know if it is the Audi that is a bit struggling there. The car that obviously has the highest BOP punishment, balance of performance punishment, is the Ford, which has 26 kilos added, and I'm not even sure because I didn't check this on the BOP sheet this time if it also has a restrictor applied. But there's only Raymond that is driving a Ford this season. Last season there were more, so I assume there might have been some changes in the balance of performance. Casetaras. It doesn't say much. At the end of Camel Straight, he had a 1/10 of lap time improvement. Biswas, let's stay with Biswas for now, because he's probably the one that is. Oh, there's still Griffith, but almost the last one of the pro drivers. Qualifying session will also end now in 30 seconds, so the drivers that are passing the starting line before the counter counts down will have the chance to take another lap. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for Biswas. but from the looks of it, he's also giving all he can. 8/10 of lap time improvement at the moment. Griffith managed. So 1 second of improvement for Pisvas. And he will be able to barely just do another lap. Wow. That was on the second. To give it another try. Yeah, Assetto not successfully improving his time. Yeah, let's stay with Panosha for now. Oh, yeah, for now let's stay with Panosha, and then maybe we take another look at Matt Whitburn. Because it seems like he still has the chance to improve his time and jump into P1. With the current lap time, currently Panosha has 2/10 of improvement on the clock. That would put him into P4. Yeah, that's going to be P4 for Panosha. Sorry, for Panosha, but behind him is Veltman. And he might take this spot still, yeah. So Veltman in P5 and Panosha in P6. And we will see each other on the grid in a second. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue the broadcast here from the grid. And maybe we find a good view of the cars. Yeah, this actually looks rather good this time. Usually we don't find a proper perspective, but we have Ivanov in P1 on the inside. Then we have Matt Whitburn in P2, Davy Hill in P3, Ameka Setarash. So we have the two Formula Racing League team drivers together. Then we have Nico Veltman in P5, Panosha in P6, Paul Whitburn in P7, then Beasters with the green BMW in P8, Dario Brems in P9, and Smuja in P10, Jake Deschamps in P11. Just to make you aware of it, Dario Brems is the leader for now of the M drivers. Smuja is P2 of the M drivers. Then there's Jake Deschamps, P3 of the M drivers. Then we have Kubamoy Biswas in P12, Cavalieri, the blue BMW, in P13, Conti in P14, Kimini in P15, Capimate in P16, Raymond, you can see him on the left, in the left column. That's the white Ford with the golden stripes in the middle. Eric Griffith in P18, the last one of the pro drivers. Then Simon Bragg, let me check for the perspectives again. No, we'll have to go along with this one. In P19, Stu Pierce in P20, Daryl Cole in P21, Kauenberg in 22, Cataldo in P23, Messina in P24, Degota in 25, Davidson in P16, Pavlovic P27, not 16, 26, and then Pavlovic in 27, Van de Kamp in P28, Borna in P29, Yanis in P30, and Emmanuel Kass in P31. So now we'll have a full lap of formation, a full lap of formation lap, a full formation lap, or in whatever order you want to mention that, where the drivers can warm up their tires and find the proper grid position. I think with the game it is actually fairly easy to find the grid position because it shows you very well where you have to be. In real life it can be a bit more confusing. So to recapitulate, the pinkish blue BMW here is Dario Brems, the leader of the AM drivers. Muja with the Red Bull Racing livery is P2 of the AM drivers. Jake Deschamps is P3 of the AM drivers. And even though I mentioned it earlier, it just looks to be cloudy today, and it doesn't look like it is going to rain, at least not in the next 30 minutes. During this 45 minutes race, the drivers will have to do one mandatory pit stop with a fixed refueling time. And with an optional tire change. The tire change will take how many seconds? 5 seconds. So in theory there is the possibility to save 5 minutes by saving the tire change, but usually it is not recommended not to change the tires. You just lose too much time. Check something. Yes, the refueling time is the refueling time is fixed in the 45-minute races. There's one consolation that the refueling time is not fixed, but it was not the 45-minute race. So in any seconds the drivers are going into double file, and we are getting ready for this 45 minutes race on Spa in Belgium. 6 kilometer long track, roughly 2 minutes 16 overlap time per driver. And thank God I remember in time that the start will be on the downhill side of La Source. For some reason that maybe someone can explain to me in the chat, the side of the start has been changed, but I just assume that T1 was too hazardous to start, or the speed of the cars was too high when they were starting here and then coming down into Rouge and Radillon. So this is the start of race number 6 of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione, organized by Formula Racing League and sponsored by SimGrid Racing. And at any seconds now, the lights will turn green. And off we go. So we see Ivanov there, the red Ferrari on the inside lane. That looks quite clean for the pro drivers coming onto Camel Straight. There's Paul Whitburn, actually that was not clean. Let's see what happened there. That was a little bit of contact already and both of them are off. That is Whitburn and Beasters. That's a pity. We have Davy Hill also with a yellow flag going back. That kind of looks like he spun out in Lecombe. Maybe there was a little touch. I'm not gonna go jumping back into the replay now because that would take us away from the racing action. But yeah, Davy Hill, I think he was starting in P2 or P3, so that's why there's such a gap. And there is Brems off into... That is the leader of the AM drivers, so we're gonna take a little look what happened there in Speaker's Corner. Oh, he just lost the rear. Oh, that is unfortunate for the leader of the AM drivers. Hopefully he does not have too much damage, so he can continue the race without many difficulties, but he's being overtaken and that looks like the car is quite broken. Maybe let's see in a perspective from the front. Ah, that is the hood popped up already. That I think is something like 20 seconds of damage, or at least that is what it is representing in Assetto Corsa Competizione. But there seems to be seems to have been a bit of shuffling there because Cassettarash now is also in P2. When he started in P3, but now a bit late on the brakes into the chicane. And that will maybe give Whitburn the chance to go up on the inside on Lazores, and Cassettarash going for the switchback. No switchback there, already getting under pressure from Veltman in the back there. So Whitburn back to his starting position. That looked a little bit like Veltman could carry more speed through Rouge, and is now trying to get on the inside line here. No, but pulls back. And this is Cassettarash with a too steep of an entry into Lecombe. I already thought that he was going a bit protective there, but that was a very steep dive onto the apex there. And unfortunately he ends up in the barrier there and is now falling back to P17. Veltman also with a purple lap for now, but only because Ivanov and Whitburn had invalid laps. Dario Brems is in the pits now. Beasters and Whitburn, Paul Whitburn, also in the pits for repairs. And probably will also use the chance to take the mandatory pit stop and then just drive a 40 minutes stint. Asmuja now in P1 for the AM drivers. Giuseppe Messina is losing a few positions. Casettaraj now also entered the pits for repairs. Respectable. Whitburn now with a purple lap, 2 minutes 16.6. But the gap to Ivanov is already 2.2 seconds now and 2.9 seconds behind Whitburn. In P3 is Veldman, closely followed by Panoscia. I assume it is actually the top speed. The two Ferraris of Ivanov and Panoscia reach a top speed of 275 kilometers per hour. That's 5 kilometers per hour more than Whitburn and Veldman. It might be a bit of a bonus on Camel Straight. But if the rest of the corners, the other cars are more dominant. Hi Paul, good to see you in the chat actually, but sad to see you in the chat as well. Or is it someone else writing the message in the chat? Don't text while driving. Another yellow flag by Messina here. Let's just see what happened there. And double left-hander. A bit too much curb on the inside. It's unfortunate. But also the car there usually is very light in the rear. Because you have to kind of, by going off the throttle, you have to make the front of the car dive in a little bit. And that's kind of the rotation that you need. Maybe if we find a chance later, I will try to show you how people get around this double bush. I still see a lot of invalid laps, so I am assuming that we will maybe see one drive-through. One drive-through I think would be a very good statistic. Two, let's say two. Let's say two, I'm not going to jinx anything. Panoscia now closing the gap, but was technically 0.2 lower than Veldman. Oh, now let's take a look. What I mean in the double gush. So we are with Panoscia now coming up into Pujon. Very wide there. Very wide there. Maybe not enough power on the brake, so that is almost a second of time lost. So now what I'm saying is here and now off the throttle and let the front of the car hook itself into the corner. And I think that was the issue that we saw earlier with one of the M drivers that crashed here. Also now into Stavelo. Sometimes very difficult to stay within the track limits here, especially towards the end of the stint when the front tires are losing a bit the grip. Now we're gonna jump into, that was a bit of a rapid change here, but we are jumping to Scavalieri that is hunting down Biswas, the pro driver. I think that could have already been an off track there. Biswas also already with a little bit of a defensive line, or maybe just a habit there. Biswas and Scavalieri are on two different in two different classes, so there's actually no real point to fight, even though Scavalieri in this case wants to. Biswas is probably happy that he has Scavalieri behind him, because Capimite, who is in P9, is a direct competitor for the position. Oh, barely managing to keep it within the track limits there. A bit late on the brakes. And this was not really hitting the apex there in Lecomte. Really being able to close the gap significantly on the brakes there. And we're gonna go back to P10 Cimini, who's currently the M driver attacking the pro driver there again. I will take a look at Raymond in a second. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea actually. That gap looked very tight for a moment. Ah no, Raymond just let Griffith pass. That's why there was a bit of a confusion on the screen there. Raymond, the white board with the golden stripes there, punished with 26 kilo of weight added for the balance of performance. And I think we could be able to see that with Coupiers in the back closing the gap slowly. Let's take a look now how the Ford does on Camel Straight. In the statistics, it definitely does not have the quickest car. The quickest car is Davy Hill with 277 kilometers per hour on Camel Straight. Now, depending if Griffith had to lift a little bit there in Radillon, which it kind of looks like. Or is that already? No, that's... Yeah, that's Griffith. So, yeah, Griffith got Raymond managed to pass Griffith. And this was at Scavalieri also fighting for position still, and that is Scavalieri pushing through against the pro driver there. Hi Pascal. Unfortunately, when the racing action is somewhere else, I try to have the camera there. Also Juper is here, and there was no contact. There was just Griffith. At least I didn't see any contact, but that was just Griffith losing the rear. Maybe hooked a bit too much on the curb or too early on the throttle, but that is Griffith out. Sorry, I'm struggling a lot with that name because the Germans usually struggle a bit with the TH, so it's a Griffith. Sorry for that. But now Biswas and Capimate fighting for position here into En Rouge. Someone gonna pull back? Not really, no, it's not. Ah, actually Biswas pulls back. But also Cimini then struggles for position. Well, it was the safe choice for Biswas to pull back there, but almost had a crash with Cimini there. So Griffith now also in the pits, and we have the first drive-through for James. So I just jumped back to the back of the grid here. So Casseterash, Beasters and Whitburn, who had a crash in the beginning of the race, already did their mandatory pit stops. We'll only see where they're actually going to be after all the other drivers went to do their pit stops. Griffith now also pitting for repairs. Chimina is still holding up the pressure on Biswas. And Cimini with a quite bold move there. I did not expect that he would be close enough to go for that. Maybe Biswas also opened the door a little bit, or left it open at least, which was fortunate because that's better to prevent crashes. But seems like Biswas is driving very defensively today. But also seems to be struggling a little bit with the pace. The last lap was at 2 minutes 20. And the best lap of 2 minutes 18.2 roughly puts Biswas into that grid position if I look at the best laps. So the closest gaps. We have some of the drivers now coming into the pits already. Deschamps, Janes, Simon Bragg is also pitting. Davy Hill is tracking down Conti. Davy Hill 2 seconds quicker in the last lap, but that is also due to a crash that he had in the beginning of the race. I don't think Hill was in the pits though after the crash. No. He has not been in the pits, so the damage doesn't seem to be significant. Oh, Conti with the yellow flag. What happened there? He just got a little love tap by Hill. Ay. Almost 3 wide there into the bus stop. Oh, well, now he definitely passed Conti, but I don't know who the third driver there was. Ah, that's Griffith. Okay. I see. Borga with the yellow flag in the bus stop chicane. It just looks like he jumped. Ah no, he just missed his braking reference. Just with a wide line. I mean, that's what the runoff area is for. In case. So Gemini currently running in P3. And I think he started in P4. I'm just gonna have a little look at it again. I don't even have a picture of him on the starting position, but I think he was in P4. And also rapidly closing the gap to Scavalieri, who's in P2. Media that was not so successful in the last race with the P15 and also before looking for the inside in Blanchimont already. Now let's see what happens on the bus stop chicane. Cavalieri not on a defensive line, but it just wasn't enough of speed difference there. Raymond with the yellow flag. Yeah, but he's holding it straight. Veldman in the pits. Let's just see what happened to Raymond there. Lost the rear and into the barrier. That is unfortunate. That is a lot of damage there as well. I don't think the windshield is broken. No, the windshield is not broken. But it's obviously coming into the pits now. But it will cost him a few seconds. So let's go back to the fight between Cimini and Scavalieri. They battled for P2 in the AM drivers. Looking for the inside, but not managing to get along there. Now we're gonna go into the passenger seat because I think that is the most interesting thing that is happening at the moment. Into Brussels with a lot of overspeed, but then obviously the exit is a bit not sacrificed. Scavalieri struggling a little bit with the rear of that BMW there, if I see that correctly. Mini with a very direct lines to the apex. And that is an off track that he is collecting there. At least it looks like an off track from my perspective, but also that's what the software said. But that is going to be some overspeed there for the inside line into the bus stop and gets a bump there from Scavalieri, but where is he supposed to go? And now just returns from the off track in front of him. Oh, the steward in me is skeptical about that. The steward in me is skeptical about it. Just like go off track and then return on track in front when you had a fight before. Who am I to judge? It's not my. I'm just a commentator here. I have my feelings, you know. Sorry, what happened there? You know, I was looking at the time. Panoscia with a yellow flag, with a little bit of an off track, is going to cost him time, but as the others are in pit, we don't have the after pits standing. Maybe someone can explain to me what the word for that is. In English, I'm still looking for it. Biswas manages to pass Cavalieri again, no? Yeah, it looks like that. There seemed to have been a bit of a change there. There's Conti here, Cavalieri in front, so sorry guys, use. Okay, this is because of the pit stops. I was just going to say, none of the drivers that are in P1 in the AM category actually were there at the start of the race. Yeah, no, because all the others are in the pits at the moment. Ivanov is now also in the pits, Panosha is also in the pits, Muja is also in the pits. Mait and Kasetarash both were in the pits already, so that seems to be a valid position that I can see there. At least the fight in between them is valid. Raymond, after being in the pits with repairs, at the moment attacking Borna. A bit ambitious on the inside line there. That looks to me like these are yellow flag situations as well, yeah. Mini and Scavalieri are... Sorry. Rayman has blue flags at the moment. That's why so many people are passing him. On the left side of your screen you can see the little ones next to the number plate that indicate that the driver has not done the pit stops, or you can see the green area that indicates that the pit stop has been done. And we can see Ivanov in P1, Panosha in P2. Because as far as I can see, a bit confusing why Panosha ended up... Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, there's Whitburn. And there should also be... Veltman somewhere. There he is, Veltman in P7. Yeah, exactly. No, Panosha in P4. Muja still P1 of the M drivers. Paul Whitburn, after his pit stop and almost 15 minutes left on the clock, they're running in P27, which is a bit surprising to me, because in theory he should have had the clean air in front of him. Even after almost half an hour of racing in P1, Whitburn still in P2, Nico Veltman in P3. And this is Biswas, Kasetarash. Biswas in front, and then Kasetarash and Hill, the two Formula Racing League drivers. That is also a battle for position in the pro category. That is Hill passing for now. Biswas trying the switchback. No. So that should be Hill through. Yeah, that was Hill. And then there's Kasetarash still. Yeah, but there's also Kapi made now. Getting into this collision there. That was a bit confusing what happened there. Both of them continue to drive, but Biswas is the one that is left behind. Now Casseterash in front at the end of Eau Rouge. People coming from the pits. It's a bit of shuffling there. And actually the one that gained the most position is Capimate, suddenly gained 3 position and is running in P8. Ay. And that is Chiminiov. I'm gonna take a look at this. There might have been some... Yeah, where is he? I mean, he cannot just vanish. Where is he supposed to go? Ay. I'm not sure if he was blue flagged. Maybe that was the issue. No. Also no blue flag there. Exciting things are happening after half an hour of racing. Now Bis was now furiously tracking down the 2 Formula Racing League drivers there. Hill is already passing Scavalieri. Scavalieri is off into the gravel a little bit there. Ambitious. The pro driver is plowing through the field. They're currently in P1 we have Coopers, but Cooper still has to do his pit stop. Sorry. Cavalieri and Bis was still battling for position there. Let's see. Cavalieri maybe with a better exit in La Source, taking a bit of a wider entry into the corner. That also did not look like a valid corner. We only saw one drive-through so far. At some point in the stream I said we're gonna see 2, but I've only seen 1 yet. And that's the chance. That was quite smartly done actually. Little mistake from Biswas there. And then taking different lines through the comps. So that's Biswas in P12 and Scavalieri unchanged in P3. Coopers is now in the pits. Now there's also Conti coming up in the back. The yellow flag from Davidson in Radillon. We can just see the end here in the replay. Damage and damage. That looks like damage. Whitburn also with a yellow flag. What happened there? Is it gonna cost him the position? Let's just go back. Bit too much throttle after La Source. Maybe he's not entirely used to the Porsche yet, that sometimes can be a bit of a diva to control. But did not cost him the position. Okay, just cost him 6 seconds. But was not enough for Veltman to get there. Now we're gonna keep an eye on Conti here. Even though they are not fighting for position. Conti is able to drive quicker, then maybe it makes sense for him to pass. Gimini also with the yellow flag, so we see a little bit the concentration lacking after more than half an hour of racing. And then things like this happen, and that is almost a race-ending crash. I mean, you can reset to the pits, and that's an stop-and-go penalty for Kuipers. That does not count into my prediction, but apparently he was too quick in entering the pits. And the crash of Conti gives Cavalieri the chance to gain time. David Hiller has also caught up to Mate. And there's some blue flag traffic in front. No, that's also not a blue flag. That is just a different class. That's Jack DeShawn there. Okay. That was an interesting choice, to be fair. And that's obviously Hill taking the profit there. And down to Rouge now. Maybe Capimate will have the better line here. Not 100% certain. That was Cimini that crashed and not Conti, sorry. Still, Cavalieri is closing the gap to Conti, just to be precise. That is the battle for P3, so we're gonna take a little look here into a passenger perspective, and with a low growl of the BMW here. And there's the drive-through for Cole. Okay, now it's enough with the drive-throughs because I only predicted 2. Now that gap is widening again. Kuipers is closer to Bisters here, even though Bisters is a pro driver, so I do assume that he generally has the quicker lap times. But sometimes things are strange in races and things happen. Copy made and DeShawn side by side now, maybe this time. Yeah. Made passes through. He did not see him there on the inside. Even though I think technically there might have been enough overlap. There was not enough overlap before the braking zone, so it was a bit of a risky maneuver. Again, the steward in me is judging things that are none of my business. Just looking at the lap times here, Coopers is the slower driver and also has to still go for his stop and go penalty. Conti and Scavalieri getting closer and closer to Biswas, but generally no big moves happening anymore. Ivanov in the lead, then 15 seconds to Matt Whitburn in P2, Nico Veldman in P3, Panosha in P4, then Smuja, the leader of the M drivers, in P5, Davy Hill P6, Cassetarash P7, Capimate P8, and the P2 of the M drivers, Jake Deschamps. And then we have Biswas, Conti and Scavalieri, who we are watching right now. I just changed back to Kuipers. That is the black BMW that you see there. Was another off track for Coopers as well. "26 kilos is a lot of weight added, that's true." So, Conor Raymond currently running in P18 slash 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, P9 for the M drivers. I had to manually count it all here also, with a bit of a crash, I think. Hooked the front wheels. Aye, and that was a lot of damage also. Hooked the front wheels a little bit too much there into turn 8. Davy Hill still furiously hunting Smuja. Probably 2 more laps, depends on where Ivanov is. Yeah, Ivanov has passed the start-finish line already, but is going to manage within the race time. Smuja there, wide. He'll just take in the position, a bit ambitious. For another try, maybe in the next lap. It's always worth being defensive because you kind of, you get a second try, and now Smuja was just like, okay, man, just go, I'll just let you go, that's fine. That is not a battle for position. It's just a battle for grid position, but not a battle for scoring. But the battle between Scavalieri and Conti here is for position. That would be P3. Not a battle yet. They're still within 1 second apart from each other, so it's not a battle, technically speaking. That is a fight for position though. I see Ivanov crossing the start-finish line right now, so that means the spotter said it. The spotter also said it. And there are a few smaller groups here, and these are Capimate. Now this is Deschamps in the front, then Biswas behind, then directly behind is Conti, and then is Cavalieri. Ambitious. Ambitious. Probably worth a try on the almost last lap. The penultimate. That's something you say. I think it is. On the penultimate lap. This was already for maybe the third lap behind Deschamps here. But this is a fight for position, and the one with Deschamps is not, so putting the priority there a little bit. Yeah, that's a battle for P6 in the pro category in the last lap of the race. Also here, the battle for P3. Cavalieri and Conti.
The leader has finished the race.
I'm sorry, I forgot to showcase Ivanov here. I'm sorry. Congratulations to the win on Spa in race number 5 of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now the next one to pass is Whitburn in P2, then is Nico Weltmann, and then there should be Panoscia in P4, Davy Hill in P5, then we have P1 for the M category, that is Smooja. And we have Casseterash. Jumping back here quickly. If there's anything in the last corner. No. That is not gonna be enough for Cavalieri. So Jake Deschamps in P9, Capimate in P8, Tubamo Biswas in P10, Conti in P3 after a hard battle with Cavalieri here in the last lap, who is P4 in the amateurs. Then we have Emmanuel Kass in P12, and now people start to leave the server already, so it will be a little bit skewed. Cataldo in P15, Segota in P16, Raymond finishing the race in P17, I think. Then we have Beasters and Orogna, and I think that is all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and we will see each other next week on... let me just take a look at the calendar. We will see each other next week on the Nürburgring GP track with the 75 minutes of racing. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have a nice evening. Thank you to all the viewers in chat as well. It's always fun to have a conversation, and then see you next week. Ciao, ciao.